Horace Silver's Song for My Father is a Latin jazz standard from the year 1964. Now in this jazz guitar lesson I'm going to show you 3 different ways to play the chords, give you the chord shapes you need, and we'll dive into what's going on with the harmony too. All of the chord shapes, tab and notation that you see on the screen can be downloaded from my website, just check the description. Now this song is in AAB form with each section being 8 bars, so it's 24 bars in total. Now this is a great standard to learn because there's not many chords, and this is the shapes you're going to need. F minor 7, E flat 7, D flat 7, same shape, and C7, and then we're also going to use C7 sus4 like this. I'll put the chart on the screen, and here is the A section, which is played twice. So we go F minor 7, 2 bars, down to E flat 7, 2 bars, D flat 7, then C7 sus4, then back to F minor 7, 2 bars. Then we kick it off again, F minor 7, E flat 7, 2 bars, D flat 7, 1 bar, C7 sus4, back to F minor, 2 bars. Then we're going to hit the B section, and the B section is as follows. So we got 2 bars of E flat 7, 2 bars of F minor 7, then half a bar of E flat and D flat 7, then C7, back to F minor for 2 bars to hit it all off again. When I first learn a new standard, I like to do what I call my 3-point check. And the first thing I like to do is look at the key signature to see how many sharps and flats there are, if any. And let's look at this particular one, there's 4 flats. Now let's reference the circle of fifths and look for the key with 4 flats. If you see it here on the left hand side, there it is, the key of A flat major, or in the inner circle, F minor. Now if we think back to the chords, we didn't have an A flat major chord present in that sequence, so it's going to be the relative minor. We're in the key of F minor. And that just shows you what a good reference tool the circle of fifths. Even if you don't know all that information, you don't know off by heart that 4 flats means A flat major or F minor, you can quickly reference the circle of fifths and get some more information to help you. So first stage, key signature. Second stage is to work out what chords are in and out of key. So we need to know first what chords are in the key of F minor. Now what you get in F minor is F minor 7, G minor 7 flat 5, A flat major 7, B flat minor 7, C minor 7, D flat major 7, E flat 7, back to F minor. So out of those particular chords we had F minor being in key, we've got E flat in key. So there's just 2 chords out of the 4 chords that we've got that are in key. And when I went through those chords then, C7 sus4 or C7 was not part of those chords. And in music theory, yes, they're not, but in practice, it really is very much part of it. And why is that? Well, the most important chords in a key are always 1 and 5. 1 being the tonal center and 5 being a way of getting back to 1. Now the 5th chord, if you look at that table again, was C minor 7. So if we went, you know, like F minor 7, C minor 7, F minor 7, sounds okay, but it doesn't have as strong a pull as C7. So what typically happens in practice is that 5th chord gets made into a dominant 7th rather than a minor 7. And why? Well, if I do the voicing here, you can hear on the top this note, E. E is a semitone beneath F, so it leads really well up into an F minor chord. So the chords that are in key, F minor 7, E flat 7, and the C7 really is part of that too. Which just leaves one chord that's out of key, which is D flat 7, because we would expect D flat major 7 in the key. But we've got D flat 7 instead. So the third thing I look for is structures or secondary dominants. By structures I mean things like 2-5-1s, minor or major. And secondary dominants I mean dominants other than C7 in this instance, because C7 is the 5 of F minor, and we've just got that one rogue chord. We've got that D flat 7, which is a secondary dominant, which, you know, works with that chromatic 4. You know, going down you get the descending bass going F, E flat, D flat, C, kind of falls into that C7 quite nicely. And as we normally do, we can assign Roman numerals to these chords, F minor being chord 1, E flat 7 being chord 7, D flat 7 we call that 4-7, and I've labelled it a different colour because it's out of key, and then 5-1. And obviously those chords occur in the B section as well and would be attributed the same numerals. So we've thought about the form, we've thought about what chords are in and out of key, and we've gone through the chord shapes. The next thing to do is get onto some ways to play it in this sort of Latin style. And we're going to start with the sort of basic bossa nova sort of pattern. And with the right hand for this, you use the thumb for the bass note, and then use your index and middle, and they'll either be playing the G and the B or the D and the G. And I'll play through the first way. It is AAB, but I'll just do AB just for the sake of keeping things short. And it's like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. B section, that was the A. Here you go, into the B section. Stop on the C7, 2, 3, 4. So that's the first way you'd want to have a basic sort of go at it, playing with that sort of Latin feel. And if you'd like to learn more about the bossa nova, check the description for my video on that very topic. And a really great bossa you can learn, I've made a video on it, is called Black Orpheus, so again I'll put the link in the description for that one. And a cool variation you can do with that is to put another stroke in at the end on the and of 4 and go. You can even, when you change chord, anticipate the next chord on that and of 4 like this. So you actually end up playing the next bar's chord before beat 1. So do it slowly. Coming up here. Here. Pretty cool. It gives the piece, gives your rhythm nice momentum, and it's a very common thing done in kind of Latin rhythm guitar. And my second way of playing it, if you were playing this without a bass player, maybe in a duo, you would want to fill some of the space a little bit more, maybe with some sort of bass line sort of linking. And we're going to do that in this version. We're going to put some passing notes into the next chord, like going like that, and we're going to use what's called the alternating bass. So we're going to go to the 5th, which the reason I've shown you all these chords on the A string like this, with the root on the A string, is so that this E string is free to add in bass notes. And if your root is here, say fret 8 on the A string is an F, the 5th of F, C, will be on the same fret on the E string. And as you go down E flat, the 5th of it is B flat, which is on fret 6 on the E, D flat and A flat, C and G, back to F and C. So you've got the root on the A string and the 5th on the E string, which is going to help us get some nice movement and patterns on it. So I'll play this example for you now. So for me there, you get some nice falls into the chords with chromatic bass notes moving, and that root and 5th thing is obviously something we're very used to hearing in many styles, but it just adds and fills some of the space. Particularly useful if you're playing without bass player or playing it in a smaller setting, particularly if you like a guitar and another guitar duo, or playing with a pianist maybe. This brings me to my third way. Now if you were playing in a larger group, a larger ensemble, you had a bass player, maybe a pianist, you've got a drummer, then the role of the guitar player, it takes on a different need, and you know, they need different things from you. This might be what we just did, might be too busy, and you might need to be just sort of floating over the top of those chords, or stabs, rather than, you know, da, da, da. You know, some things like that, rhythmic ideas. But I think on this one it would be nice to sort of sustain mellow chords. And sometimes, you know, less is more. And I'm going to show you some 3-note voicings that I like for this. And it sounds like this, and I just do it on the A section. 4, 1, then E flat 9, D flat 9, C9 sus4, F minor 9. You could repeat that, but let's just go to the B section, a bit more rhythm. F minor 9, E flat 9, oh sorry, E flat 9, D flat 9, C7, 2, 3, 4, F minor 9, that type of thing. And the whole idea of that way is not to get in the way of others, really, and that's something you have to learn when you're playing, obviously, with other people. Don't forget to grab the PDF with the chord shapes and the charts and the tab and notation. Available, link in the description, it's all on my website. If this is your first time on my channel, thank you for checking out my content. Please consider subscribing, joining me for jazz guitar lessons every Wednesday and Saturday. See you next time, in which I'll cover how to solo on Song for My Father.